series is dedicated to exploring ways to better understand and care for our environment. And here we are at the next to the Willits Recreational Grove at the Willits Integrated Service Center. We're going to be going to the Whisk Garden. There's the office. And doing a class in double digging, cultivation today. My name's Ron Woolsey, and we're here at the Wick Gardens. We're going to do a class today on cultivation. I had a friend ask me the other day, why now? Why in December? And what we're looking at here is that we have a little bit of a window where it's warm and your soil dried out just enough that we can get in. So short notice, but what we wanted to do was to show you what you're going to need to do. In January, you're going to have a 2 to 3 week window of dry weather where you can work your ground. So this gives you the opportunity to see what you want to do, maybe be prepared for it when you get to that point. And because what you can do is you can prep your soil then it's going to rain again. Then when you're ready to plant, maybe the middle of January, the beginning of February, the middle of February, you can go out and plant that bed because it's already prepped, and you can put a cold frame over it. And you can get your garden going in February, March at least. By then you can get going. But you can go out and sow, carrots and things like that, as long as you're going to cover them with cold frame. Once you get past the equinox, the solstice, which will be December 21st, the energy starts to change. If you sowed seeds right now, it wouldn't do anything. But if you wait until the impetus changes from things going into the soil to things coming out, you'll have that impetus to ride, and you can sow seeds and things like that and get it started really early if you'll protect it long enough for it to get 3 sets of mature leaves. Then you can you can move your cold frame and start a new area. Mm-hmm. So the purpose of double digging is to not handle the soil any more than you have to. You're going to pick it up, put it down once. And so you use this technique of opening an area, and I came in here the other day and started this. I opened an area about a little over a foot, maybe about 1.5 feet deep, and the width of the bed, and about 1 spade's depth, and took that soil and I put it over here in buckets and in a wheelbarrow, and we're going to take that down to the end of the bed to fill our hole when we get done. And when I did that, when I took that soil out, I took just the top soil and I put that in containers, and then I took the subsoil underneath that and put that in other containers, because the whole point here of double digging in this way is to keep your topsoil on the top. Topsoil is topsoil because of its relationship with the air. It's the microorganism activity that's going on, we're trying to maintain. If I turn that soil under, all those organisms have to migrate back to the surface. So we're trying to introduce as much air as we can as deeply into this bed as possible, and at the same time maintain the stratification and handle the soil as little as possible. So I'm going to work as I talk. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to move now this portion of soil over into this space, and as I do that, I'm going to pick it up in little wedges. And I'm trying to use my body well here, so I'm not going to even use my arms to lift that. I'm going to bend my legs, move back, and this is what's called slide digging, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this that way. What's happened is this soil has moved off of here, come forward, and landed in the same position it was when I took it out. Topsoil's on top, subsoil's below it. It's not going to all happen that way, but the majority of it will. And you see, I'm really using my legs mainly for this whole process. It's rocking back and forth. And I can just get into that. Now the other thing you want to really look at here is your timing. I'm opening the soil up. We're going to get energy moving down into the soil because of the fact that it can penetrate. Right now it's been packed down, sort of got a seal on it, like an envelope. And what we're going to do is take a look at this soil here. Some of the stuff from the top. The way you tell whether or not your soil is workable, and this is just barely so, you can see as I'm throwing this forward, it's staying pretty much in those chunks. But if I take a handful of this, a fair amount of organic material in it, and I squeeze that as tight as I can and throw it down, it breaks apart. What that means is that the clay particles are not compressing too much. If it was wetter, because this does have some clay in it, you can tell how much clay is in your soil by seeing if it'll ribbon. That means when it's a little wet, I can take it like this and force it into a ribbon. This almost ribbons. There's not a lot of clay in here. This is valley floor, so probably a fair amount of silt. There's some staining on my fingers. That indicates clay. You like some clay in your soil. If you don't have any clay in your soil, you have a hard time tying up the nutrients in the soil. The beauty of clay is that you've seen these little models that they have of different molecules. Well, your clay molecule has like a little keyhole, and nitrogen has the key. So when it starts to pass down through the soil, that nitrogen locks into that clay particle, and the clay holds it there until the plant's ready to eat it. If you don't have that there, it wants to tend to move through. Your humus will also tend to tie up the nutrients and make them available to the plants, but the clay is really a valuable thing in the garden. The other thing I want to show you here, and I want to show you this, Janine, before you take off. This is the root of convolvulus, morning glory. Every little piece of root is a new plant. So when you're digging your beds like this, it's an ideal time to make a major effort on trying to get this stuff out. Do not put it in your compost pile. Every little piece will become another plant. Okay. You want to start, it is starting to take off in the garden, so you want to kind of go after it as much. Look how iridescent those roots are. They're beyond white. So that's how you recognize the root on it. Let me see if I can show you a piece of the plant material. Here's it's a little spade-like shaped leaf. Gets the white flowers on them, morning glory flower. Climbs all over everything, and that's why the name convolvulus. All right, so I'm going to dig a couple more here. Now what I'm doing, I'm going to step in this, which I don't want you to do normally. But what I'm doing is I'm bringing this forward. It's striking like this. This top portion of soil is going to slide forward as I do it. So then some slides back down, creating a little bit of a shelf down here. And then what I'm going to do is all the stuff that I didn't get here, I'm going to put up on that shelf. That'll open up this spit of soil here, and I'll be able to go in and subsoil that. Then we'll move another section forward. And it just keeps going like that. But you see, I've only had to pick this soil up. You know, I see some people double dig. They go in, they take all the soil out. Then they go in and they subsoil. Then they put all the soil back. If you've done twice as much work as you had to do. By doing this little shuffle thing, you've eliminated half of that work. So again, down, going forward, using your legs. Fell apart on me. This is, you guys are really, really lucky to have this kind of soil.